I say this, your work is not your worth. Your work is not your purpose. So while you're working, you have to, and then your purpose is your want to, but you got to make sure you don't get those flipping around. So you got to make sure you do a lot of your have tos before you get a chance to do your want to. You got to start where you're at. You must do what you can until you can do what you want. Friends and family, welcome, ladies and gents. I don't know if it's going to be morning, afternoon, evening, I don't know, but I'm recording this in the morning, and I like to get my day started on the right foot. And so you are in the right place. I'm your host, Kendrick, and this is another episode of Talks with Ken. This is the place where motivation lives, inspiration thrives, and personal and collective growth lives. So, y'all, I'm happy to see you guys. I hope you guys fared out, especially on the East Coast. This is where I'm shooting from right here repping my Gamecocks. Football ain't do too good this year, but our ladies basketball is carrying us right now in the state of South Carolina. So glad to have you all. I'm glad to be here. Hope you guys did some slipping and sliding in the snow. Well, most likely a little bit of ice. So me and my family got there a little bit. I think we're gonna get another round of snow. So by the time you see this recording, you're probably gonna, you know, get out there in some of that. Again, that's a part of life. Enjoying the small stuff, especially the one that the Most High provides. We don't get snow a lot, so you better go out there and enjoy it. All right. Today we got a little bit of motivation coming from my guy Napoleon Hill. So when I'm in the office working, I typically like to get my day started with something positive. But beginning with my wife, she has this little motivational little scrapbook peel off thing, and so every morning we get a dose of that when we first wake up in the morning, and that's what we always try to do: put positive, not really affirmations around the house, but just something to get you up and active on your way. And that's typically what we do here in the Rowland household. And then when I get to work, I like to listen to, and not really podcasts, but I like to listen to old clips of Napoleon Hill and any kind of Jim Rohn, Les Brown, influential motivators of that kind. But I want to start out with a quote from Napoleon Hill. It said, "You must build your inner world before the outer world complies." I'm gonna repeat that. You must build your inner world before your outer world complies. And that's one of the things why I always go after the mind on this show. And that's really what got me started on this journey of my podcasting. In my company, I love talking to individuals on my team because I've seen their evolution and growth. I've seen my evolution and growth. It's like an everyday reminder that we can always learn something at different age groups. But on this show, I try to sell you. And what that is like one of the most. I'm reading a book right now. It's called You Happier. And I forgot the author's name. I just not got it, y'all. Just not cracked it open. But I'm gonna get that to you later. Probably gonna put that in the bottom. But this author is talking about how the brain is always forgotten. And I think that's a real thing for me. And you don't really, when you're in class, when you're younger, you hear the teacher put up a diagram of the brain. When you're in class, you're just trying to get out of there. When you're in high school, then you go into college, you're like, well, do I really need to know this? Am I going to really use this in my life? That kind of a deal. A lot of people forget about the brain and how powerful it is. I mean, because that's where our emotions, our thoughts, dreams live, and it controls our body. And so, going back to what he says, you must build your inner world before your outer world complies. And that's the aura I'm talking about. That's what attracts or deflects your potential goals, your potential future. And so, what goes into creating your inner world? I didn't really understand this fact. I mean, because again, I'll be 42 this year, 41 right now, early January, and I had to add new elements to my catalog of information. So how did I do that? I did that by getting an extended library. My library made way for newer knowledge. Well, Bohemian pastor Miles Monroe, he said, "I give my time meaning, everything. I do not waste time," and that's one of the things that I've come to adapt as well. I don't like wasting time, and so I read to understand reality. And in doing that, it's from the brain, neuroscience, relationship, finances. And I believe that we all must go inward in order to understand us first and then let the world have that version of us. And we do that by having a bigger catalog of information to pull from and, having a lot of solitude to figure out your pain points. Me, per se, I didn't know what I need to be doing in life. And right now, this podcast is giving me life when I have conversations at different events. Those conversations give me life because I understand that life is interdependent. Either way, what you do affects me and what I do affects you. When you win, I win. And when I win, you win. All that is just synergies. We are all connected to what I call source. And when we are connected to what I call source, we want everybody to thrive. What's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. I'm, hey, happy. I'm happy for you. When you win, I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy for you. And when I win, I'm happy for me too. You ain't gotta be happy for me, but I know that I'm happy for me too. So that inner world, and let me tell you what happens. And so when my inner world began to be healthier, not that I'm saying that I was broken or anything like that, but it just I understood that I wanted more in life. It was always something that was pulling at me, and I was trying to like, how do I cultivate that? How do I begin to maneuver to bring or to get the best version of me? But how do I bring what I'm feeling inside, which I couldn't put a finger on? Like, how do I bring that out? And I started reading the Bible. And then once I went through reading the Bible, they're like, well, I I had to have something else to kind of like point me in the right direction, like in today's time. Like I read it and I understood all the characters and all that kind of stuff of the Bible, but I'm like, man, how do I apply this to my life? And that's where I think the big disconnect is for a lot of people. And once you learn, how do you apply it? And then how do you apply it in a way that's purpose driven? I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I seen this one quote of this gentleman said, here I am about to be 40 and I'm just now learning me. And I can kind of say that same thing in my mid 30s. I mean, when you graduate high school, it's the infancy of life. You're crawling. And you don't know how much more time and how much more life you really got to learn. You think you're at the highest height. Then you get to college. I done graduated college and it's like, okay, I didn't got the highest height. I'm set. Man, it was probably 5, 6 years after I got graduated college. And I was like, there must be more. There's something else. It's just not doing what I'm doing. There's something else. And so asking that question, why, helped me out a lot. I mean, why? Why do I feel this way? Why am I having these strong tendencies to want to help, aid? I don't know if I was, really born an empath, but I really want to see others around me win and I want to share in their celebration. And that gives me life. And it really gives me life. And so uh today I really want you guys to start where you are. Posted a short, like, how do I supposed to become something that I don't know how to become it? And I always say this: try quick, fail fast. Write out a list of things that you like to do. And if you can't write out a list of things that you like to do, write out things that you don't like to do. And that kind of steers you in the right position. And it's something, your purpose is something that you do so effortlessly. It's like something you do so easy that comes so natural that nobody knows. Like nobody else can't tell you that you not good at it. You probably was good at it when you were younger, but life happened. Your parents, somebody didn't quote unquote beat it out of you, and you don't want to go back to that point and be like, man, I used to get in trouble for doing that at school. Case in point, me, I like to talk. I talk fast. Um, I talk loud, and so I'm like, man, you know what? How can I use it? Some people even will be like, man, why in the world are you talking so fast? Or why do you talk so loud? That kind of a deal. Maybe because the Most High gave me a microphone and a built-in speaker, so I can make sure I project and the words that I'm saying can be heard. You got to look inward like that. You got to figure it out. And then whatever pulls at your heart, it may not be what you're currently doing for work. I say this: your work is not your worth. Your work is not your purpose. So while you're working, you have to, and then your purpose is your want to, but you got to make sure you don't get those flipped around. So you got to make sure you do a lot of your have tos before you get a chance to do you want to. Hey, are you enjoying it so far?
I want to take a time out right now so you can click this link to become a part of the Talks with Ken family. Go ahead, click the subscribe link below. I appreciate everything you're doing for me. Let's go on this journey together, okay? Now, back to our regular programming. See you on the other side.
You must do what you can so you can do what you want. And I'm a firm believer and I understand that. So being able to do that, freeing your mind by not sitting on the stool or do nothing. Pick up a book, journal, write poetry, write out your thoughts, meditate, pray. I want you to find you above all things, okay? This is also what turns me, point two. This is why I love entrepreneurs. This is why I love gym goers. This is why I love business owners, because that is evidence of interior dialogue that they're having with themselves that came out to fruition. That interior conversation that they're having with themselves is like, number one, I gotta have the hope and believe that I can do this. And then like you follow that with action, an actionable plan, some steps to put forward. I really want to go do X, Y, and Z. And then you have the faith and believe I want to go do X, Y, and Z. Like the gym goers. You you probably had to lose weight first. And then you have to shape and mold that weight. That takes time. And the reason I love like gym working out, I probably digressed a little bit, but I'm still in the gym. But why I like that is because before you see a change, you feel a change. And when you feel that change, that sparks a little bit of like, wow, I don't feel as heavy at night. I don't feel as sluggish during the daytime. Well, that's that feeling. Before you even see the first cut, the first muscle gain or whatever, you feel it first. And then through consistency and being persistent, the promise that you made to yourself that you're going to be in the gym every night, every morning, every afternoon, you're following through. So that is a physical representation of your internal dialogue. And so when you can sit here and say, I'm going to put down this honey bun, I'll pick up some broccoli, and then I'm going to wake up early in the morning, as I told myself, and then I'm going to follow it through with action, and I'm going to get that sweat on. And you do that for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, a year. Then you look back, it's like, wow, look at what I've built. To me, I think that is a physical representation of your internal dialogue. That's like one of the easiest things that you can actually see. It started here and I manifested it out here and you can see the results. Same thing. It's the same thing with your business. Anybody, I am a sucker for entrepreneurs and business owners because you had to have the belief that you can take thought matter and make it appear in the physical realm. And you on an island all by yourself. And I love it. I'm a student of it. I'm a student of life. And I love what you've created. I love where you're going. And that is one of the biggest representations of I've had this conversation with myself. And now I want to share it with the world. As I'm doing here on this podcast, I have had many conversations with myself. Like, man, where am I going to put this time in? Like, how am I going to get this going? Like, how is it going to make this sustainable? And I wrote it out, put out those plans, and now I'm following through with action. You got to begin where you're at. Matter of fact, I started my photography business with my wife's camera. Just an example. You got to start where you're at. I was like, I wrote out a list, just like I'm telling you guys. If anybody know, I'm not going to give you any information that I do not follow or did not follow myself. If you are going to start a business, or if you're trying to find your purpose, start where you're at. Have some solitude. It's like if it's a business, what can I get into? What do I like? Me, I love people. Obviously, is why I'm doing this. And I was like, how can I be more in the forefront and how can I utilize what I have to get more income to be able to free up more of my time and then add to my life at the same time. So I had purchased my wife a camera for one of our anniversaries, and she always wanted a camera. We had a couple of lenses that come with it, and I was like, I really want to get extra income. And then so my wife one day, I'm gonna give you all the short story. One day she comes up to me and says, "Babe, can you teach me how to use this camera?" Now, this was not my camera. This wasn't what I wanted. And so what I did, I I dived deep. I looked at stuff and looked at YouTube University. I'm a frequent student, and I looked up how to use the camera. I tried one thing, I failed, ain't really working out, da da da. End up like I really wanted to look like this. How can I get my photos to look like this? And then I bought one light. Then I bought one light. And that one light I set up for a Christmas photo shoot for my family inside the house. I did it. Some friends saw it, some neighbors saw it and said, wow, who did that? And I said, I did. Voila. I can give you all the whole story, but that is how I began my photography journey. I started where I was at with what I had. I didn't ask anybody for help. That came from the inside. I had time with my list, my do's, my likes, my don't likes, all that kind of stuff. I started doing that. And once I did that, it quickly revealed like, hey, this might work. And then one thing led to the next. You don't have to know where you're going. You don't know. You don't really have to know the end result. You just got to start. You don't have to know the end result. You do not have to know your end result. Take that first step and then the second one. All this came from my inner dialogue, people. It came from my inner dialogue. So went from photography, used those funds to help me start my real estate journey along with my career, my savings. Um, I put out a plan to not touch any of my photography profits. And I didn't. And so I utilized that to help me buy real estate, put into real estate or invest in the market. And that has opened up other doors. I did not foresee them at all. It's just that one foot in front of the next. You just got to start. And then what happens is you'll find out. I read this all the time. You'll find out that life takes a step towards you once you take a step towards it. You got to get out of that fearful point. And again, here I am after 40, and I'm really just I started this like a couple years ago, or maybe heavy last year, and then I'm expounding on it now. So I am taking steps, and you are here witnessing it. That's why I say we are becoming. You are witnessing it right now. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm not a finished product, and I don't think nobody's a finished product. And when I get to this a certain level, it's gonna go to another level. And I couldn't always understand why these individuals who are CEOs, they would have a lucrative, I mean, half a billion, sorry, billion, half a billion dollar worth. And they're like, I'm gonna sell it. And then they end up selling it for 1 million. They're like, what about? And here I am, like, oh man, they're set for life. No, because something inside of them is driving them to higher heights. They've gotten rid of fear, maybe not all the way, but they believe in themselves unequivocally. And that's powerful. That's where the beauty lies in your success story. Okay. So that's why I want you guys to tune in here to make sure we can cultivate that in our own lives. Okay. My next point, we also have to become the best salesman of ourselves. If you don't be the best salesman of you to the world, who is going to do it for you? I made that mistake. Other individuals, my mentors, saw more in me than I did at that point in my life. Now, that's where you got to have people speak life into you. I know. You got to have people speak life into you. I know. And things happen for a reason, how they supposed to. But I didn't know that till later on. But he very plainly said, I don't know why a gentleman like you didn't have your own business. And I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of happy with what I do and where I'm at, but it is something that always pull me, that's pulling inside of me to do more. And he planted that seed, and I started to water it. That seed fell on fertile ground because I was already in my book reading and all that kind of stuff, but I just didn't know how to put the two ends together. And then he added to what a thought that I already had in my own internal dialogue. And that made me want to find out more about me, find out where I need to go and why haven't I started my own business? Why haven't I dug more deeper into me? So just having those kind of people in your corner, it helps. But I learned to be the best salesman of me at that point. So what happens to me? I'm very much like this. If I can't find a solution by myself, I instantly go to Amazon. I Google some type of book to help me kind of cultivate and craft that internal dialogue that I'm looking for or missing. It's like in the math problem, you got different variables, but it's like, all right, I'm trying to get to this point, but how do I do that? I had to look up and figure out the formula for me. And that formula may not be the same for you, But that formula, I had to look up and figure it out. So I had to add some more things from scholastic sources to be able to add to my repertoire of what I knew, what I didn't know, and bridge those together. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm building me. And then so once I did that, which was uh, a lot in the brain, I had to really change the way I looked at the world. And then it had a lot to do with finances. When I learned finances, that kind of gave me a little bit more discipline. Working out gave me a little bit more discipline. And once I got to the point of above survival, now I can start to dream. I can start to live out those dreams. And so getting above survival was one of the biggest things ever in my life. Coming from where I come from is like, hey, I don't know if that's gonna happen for your player, you know. But it's kind of daunting. It is kind of daunting. But once you get there, it's like, man, now I just want to bring everybody with me. Everybody. And that's what I'm doing here, y'all. Like, but again, you have to be the best salesman of you, because if you don't do it, who is gonna do it for you? I can't tell you how good you are. I can't see what you feel on the inside. And I can speak life to you, but I can't make you take that first step. I don't know your likes and your dislikes. I mean, you can tell me whatever, but you are the one that knows that. You are. So I want you to cultivate that inner dialogue that gives you hope and passion towards your future. And then you walk in it. You walk in it. Go ahead. Do it. You got it. You know? Um, but you gotta really start to love you. And I say this a lot, you probably gonna hear every week. You really gotta start to love you, love your journey, love where you at, and go from there, y'all. Okay. All right. I know, I said a little mouthful on that same little tangent, but this is a very big ongoing thing that I'm going to talk about every day. Mind growth. All right. So if you guys haven't, please go ahead and send more questions in to talks with Ken 26 at gmail.com. And ladies and gentlemen, I am still trying to put things together, because once it starts, it's not going to end. Put things together when I have people first, probably talking one on one on the screen, and then have my personal one on one sit downs. So again, and then also go and follow me. Please go and follow me on all socials, Talks with Ken. And it's the cartoon character emoji. And if you have not, go ahead, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go ahead. Some big things are going to keep coming. And I want to make sure I stick around in that algorithm. Okay. All right. Until next time, I love you all. Live in purpose, not by accident. Peace.